Alright guys, so we got a 99 Blazer in here today, and we are doing performance headers on this thing. We're doing motor mounts at the same time, so if you are going to do anything near motor mounts that involves taking them off or doing anything with them, just replace them. These Blazers, the motor mounts are always bad. Yeah, that's why we're doing it, because the manifolds are off and they are going to be easy to reach. So it's kind of hard to see, but the steering shaft is going to be the first thing you want to get out of the way. Alright guys, so now we're working on the air tube for the catalytic converters. It's a 1-inch.
I'm tightening it up, see if I can break it.
We put a little heat on it because it wants to pull the insert.
It wants to pull the whole tube, wants to twist with it.
Oh, there you go.
There you go, I got it loose. Sometimes what you do is you tighten them more and then you break the rust out of it. You actually use adjustable. I use pipe wrenches already.
Alright, it's kind of hard to show you guys, but the next step in this fresh hell is trying to get the downpipe off. So we got Muscle Man Wayne Savage under there, and we're just breaking these because it doesn't matter, we're putting headers on. So he's got the big 1/2-inch extensions and the big 1/2-inch ratchet. We actually have a breaker bar too, so if we need to get more leverage, we can definitely do so. Alright, so we got the downpipe off, and now we're just going to take the manifolds off, see if the bolts want to cooperate or not. Alright, so he took off the wire separators, and hopefully we'll slide this bad boy out the top. Oh, almost. Oh, here she comes. Alright guys, I just want to show you the difference here. Here's the old factory one, and here's the new header. You can see it's tubular design. It has the same hookup there, and it also fits the older ones that have EGR, but it does come with block offs. I don't know how much he paid for these. They're just China ones off eBay, I believe, but they're a lot cheaper than the JBAs or all the other ones on there, and they don't look much different. So again, I don't know if you guys watched the ones we did on his parents' truck, the 08. This is a gasket in here, the donut gasket. This one's built in, so you no longer have to worry about that. I do like how this is supported here, so if we ever have to take it apart again, so I do like that. But we RTV'd this. Like I said, it came with block off plates. We used copper RTV and bolted that down. And it comes with, I just have this side separated. There's the rest of the bag. So here's the Y-pipe bolts, and here are the header bolts. Well, unfortunately, those aren't the header bolts. They sent us the wrong ones. Those are a size too small. So right here you can see this is the exhaust manifold bolt. You can see how much thicker it is than that one. Now we can't use these because look at the thickness of the flange on the exhaust manifold. You know, that's what, like over 1 inch compared to how thin that is. So you cannot reuse those unless you use spacers. But they're just your plain Jane, you know, you can get them at a hardware store. So just take this one in or look up the specs online. I'm sure Dorman makes them, and you can just get the spec on the thread and then figure out how long you need them to be. Alright guys, I'm going to try to film and hand this down.
We'll see how it goes from the top. We don't know which way.
I'm stuck already.
Let me try from down here. I gotta
there we go.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, let me get a better camera angle for them. That big tube is there we go.
What am I stuck on?
Just ripper.
Oh, hold on.
There you go.
see exactly one thing.
Alright, so he's just messing around down there with some brake lines. Hopefully that gives us enough. Yeah, you're just on this front hook, the anchor. There you go. Alright, so she's in the vicinity. So, as you can see, we have the steering shaft out, the lower steering shaft. You just unbolt it from the bottom here, right there, and then it'll slide out of that boot up there. Make sure you mark it so that you know how it goes back together. As you can see, we got it marked. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about here, guys. You can't get a socket on it because it's too close to the pipe. So you got to kind of do it with an open-ended wrench. And I would recommend putting some anti-seize on so it goes in smoother, turns easier for you. And you know, just go to town basically, and then, you know, it's what you got to do. Unless maybe you buy the JBAs or some of the more expensive headers, it may be different, but the customer did not, and this is what we got. So this is the first time we've actually had this issue putting a set of headers on, and we just did a set of China headers on his parents' 5.3 08 truck. So I don't know if it's specific to the 4.3 or just this manufacturer or what. Because honestly, this is a pain with the wrench like this. But if that Y pipe doesn't line up and that tube doesn't line up, that's going to be much worse than this is right here. Well, for those of you that are wondering, it does have to be modified. Only, I believe, now we didn't do this on a not 3-inch body lift vehicle, but the only problem we had was the steering shaft, which we believe is because it's a body lifted vehicle, the angle is steeper. So it actually hits right there, you can see the line. So we're going to make it flatter. Trying to see where we're at already. We still got to go more. I'll show you the other side here. Now again, this is because of the 3-inch body lift almost indefinitely. I don't think you'd have a problem on a stock height vehicle or a stock no body lift vehicle. So I wanted to say this before I forget. You want to put your header in, then you want to connect your steering shaft back together,
or at least have it ran through the header.
Put it together before you put the header on, because if not, you can't. There's not enough room. So basically just have your steering shaft connected and all back together, so you'll know right away if your header isn't going to fit or not, because your bolt holes won't line up, and then two, you know, you'll be able to get it together a lot easier. You can't really do it any other way, unfortunately. There you go, guys. You can see that one right there. I mean, it's only threaded in a couple threads, but you won't get a socket or anything on it for sure. So we're going to have to get a game plan together and figure out what we're going to do here. Well, I guess you guys can figure out by now the header's not on the vehicle anymore. So he's just getting it heated, you know, putting some heat in it. That way the molecules expand a little bit and it'll actually make it easier to bend.
See what happens when hitting on a weld.
Well, guys, I figured I'd record this because we're hitting right on a weld, which I don't know what's going to happen, so I figured I'll let the camera run and we'll see what happens. It didn't go through the weld, but it went through next to the weld.
Yeah, probably caught an edge on that.
So we're going to put a little tacky tack on that. This, we did the front pipe, which goes spark plug clearance. We did the middle pipe, which is because of steering shaft clearance. And we did this guy, the back pipe, because of spark plug clearance. Be aware, guys, these are cheap headers, okay? You run into problems with cheap parts. But now you got two options. Do you not care? Are you willing to bash it up, willing to make it fit because you want to save a couple $100 or whatever the price difference is on your particular part? Then do it. If you want something to go directly in, this particular one is not going to do that. If it was my vehicle, would I do it? Yes. Because I would pay Wayne his money and I would still get it cheaper than having those headers on. Now, is this a show vehicle? I hope not, because it's going to look like crap. So if you care about popping the hood and you want your buddies to think your ride's badass or something, then don't go this route, because it's going to look like crap. Show and go or performance and cheap, those kind of things you got to ask yourself a little bit. So basically just do a lot of test fitting. We should have done a lot more than we did before we kept bolting stuff on. We didn't learn from our mistakes. Put 2 bolts in it so that you know where it's supposed to be, and then put the spark plugs in. Check everything. Well, surprise, surprise, the passenger side header doesn't fit either. You can't get a spark plug socket on it to get the plugs in. So this side isn't as bad, he said. He was looking at it last night. The header's in after much bashing. Everything's in on this side. He's putting the coolant temp sensor back in. The cat line is hooked up, and the steering shaft just... Oh, he did put the bolt in the steering shaft.
Yep, that fender cover's on.
So the steering shaft's put back in. Here you can see that got bolted up. Everything was good on both sides. The Y pipe fits perfectly. Now we did hammer this in right here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me get a... Basically that bolt was touching the header, so we hammered that in and now it's got clearance. Alright guys, so the headers are on, the CPI is done, the spider injection, and here's the first fire. We'll see what happens. Look at that. She runs, but she's got an exhaust leak, so we're going to have to look into that. So here it is. I know earlier it sounded like we had an exhaust leak. We did. We forgot to tighten the one header down. These headers have been in and out of this thing so often. It was just a simple mistake. We got them tightened up. Everything's good now. This thing runs super smooth. Look at that. Doesn't even shake, do nothing. We're going to get it up to temperature, make sure that it stays that way. So final note on the headers, they did require a lot of work, but it was nothing horrible. It was just banging with a hammer, heating up, banging with a hammer. The Y pipe went in good. The steering shaft was a problem because of the body lift. But as for the headers themselves, they weren't completely horrible. Just do a lot of test fitting and you'll be good. I hope this video helped you guys. I hope maybe it'll help you in the future do it on your own vehicle. But make sure you check out those links in the description, guys, for the Etsy and eBay for our decals. And also hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video, guys. Thanks for watching.